Talk about a crusher. Yes! Oh!
Are you kidding me?
And gone!
Welcome back to the Schoolyard Sports Podcast. I'm the host of this podcast, Lane Frank. We are now at episode 181. So 181 episodes through, I got an action-packed episode planned for you. It's week one, the 2024-2025 NFL season. College football week 2 is here. US Open entering the final rounds. MLB, we're entering September, heading down to that playoff chase, and so much more. Stay tuned for an action-packed episode 181. Stay tuned. Let's start off episode 181, how we always do, the headlines in the MLB. First thing in the MLB that we're going to talk about is my New York Mets. Love New York Mets, of course, and we're on a roll now. And the main thing that I think is really graduating this New York Mets run is David Peterson. David Peterson is not a guy who you think of as an ace, a guy who will have a 2.8 ERA, a guy who will have 11 strikeouts in his start, a guy who will be wheeling and dealing the whole entire season. All those things I just said are what David Peterson has done. He's a 2.8 ERA, just dealed against the Red Sox, 11 strikeouts. He's on fire. Francisco Lindor is on fire. Pete Alonso is on fire, and the New York Mets are on fire, making that chase for the playoffs. New York Yankees made a controversial decision this week not to call up their top prospect, Jason Dominguez, and to call down Alex Verdugo. They're going to keep Alex Verdugo up, and they're going to keep Jason Dominguez in AAA. I don't understand this move unless maybe Jason Dominguez is still recovering from that UCL injury last year, but Jason Dominguez was good until he got hurt last year. I don't understand this move by the Yankees, what their plan is with Jason Dominguez. This is a guy that we've heard has been the Martian since he was 16. Now it's time to show it in the MLB, and the Yankees will give him that opportunity. Shohei Ohtani is going to break so many records this season, and he already has. Already at 45 home runs and 45 stolen bases. But let's chill it out, the applause a little bit. Imagine if we gave Ricky Henderson a graphic or a post for every single stolen base. It'd be outrageous. So why are we doing it for Shohei Ohtani? He's the face of the Dodgers, and it's great to see, but let's tone down a little bit. Jacob deGrom is going to be making his first start for the Texas Rangers this season. Texas Rangers haven't got much out of deGrom. Let's put it that way. They signed him to a massive deal at the end of 2021 when he left the Mets. Pitched a few starts, 2022 for the Rangers, then had Tommy John. Now back with the Rangers. Let's see what deGrom can do. And then we'll be back in the MLB with Texas Rangers. Maybe they can make a playoff push, but, Bruce Bochy managed teams. He has won 4 World Series. After all those World Series wins, he has never made the playoffs the next season. Didn't know that? Leave that in the comments. Let's move things over to the NFL, where we have week 1 in the NFL. And the holdout drama is over for about everybody but Jamar Chase. Trent Williams, contract. CeeDee Lamb, contract. Brandon Ayuk, contract. All of these guys got contracts except Jamar Chase and even Hassan Reddick we can throw in there. What will happen to these guys? Leave thoughts in the comments. We got Schoolyard Sports NFL Game Day coming up next. Can't wait for that. In the US Open, we got a lot of great things going on. I was out there the whole entire weekend. It was great to see. Got to watch Coco Gauff. Got to watch Carlos Alcaraz get destroyed by Bodic Van de Genschlep. I'm struggling saying it because nobody knows who this guy is. Even I didn't know who this guy was going into that match, and I'm a big tennis guy. Won that match in straight sets, then lose in straight sets the next round. Alexei Popyrin defeated Novak Djokovic for the first time in his career. So world number 1, world number 2, Carlos Alcaraz, Novak Djokovic out. Now it looks like it might be down to Jannik Sinner. American Francis Tiafoe playing right now against Grigor Dimitrov. Taylor Fritz, Tommy Paul got eliminated last night by Jannik Sinner. But a lot of great things going on in the US Open. One of the best tennis tournaments of the year. Not the best tennis tournament of the year. One of the best environments to be in. I think the US Open is such a great environment to be in. I can watch, a football game. I can go to a baseball game. I can go to a basketball game. You think if tennis is such a quiet sport, the US Open is so electric. That's what I loved about it in Arthur Ashe Stadium. Even all the side courts, it was electric to watch those matches, especially Francis Tiafoe versus Ben Shelton. Credit to both those players. Great matches. And that's about for the headlines this week. Now, it's here, everybody. You've been waiting for it since February. You've been waiting for it since the Chiefs hosted that Super Bowl trophy. You've been waiting for it. Schoolyard Sports NFL Game Day. We pick the top NFL games of the week. We're trying to get a perfect record, and we're going to do it this week with that perfect record. Again, we don't pick all the games. We pick the best games of the week. Let's hop into it. Thursday Night Football. Ravens versus the Chiefs. I really love this Ravens team. I know I say that every year that I really like the Ravens team, but this year I really like this Ravens team because you have a great running back, Derrick Henry. Hopefully Keaton Mitchell can come back at some point in the season. Lamar Jackson's coming off his second MVP, looking to do even better than last season. Receiving core improved a little bit. Lost Mike McDonald. to the Seattle Seahawks, but Zachary Orr is going to be a great defense coordinator. John Harbaugh looking for Super Bowl number 2, and they start off that great campaign with a great win over the Kansas City Chiefs in Arrowhead on Thursday Night Football. Packers versus the Eagles. This one's out in Brazil on Friday. When was the last time you watched a Friday NFL game? We're going to get that here. Whether it's in Brazil, where a lot of people hate this game because it's like, oh, why do they have to play in Brazil? And I know the players hate it too because Brazil, a little bit dangerous, not the safest country in the world, especially where they're playing. I think they're playing in Sao Paulo, definitely not safe there. Even think about to the 2016 Rio Olympics, people were worried about the safety there. Definitely worried about the NFL player safety here in Brazil, but NFL, they want to export outside the United States. So it'll be a good game. Both teams are in green. That's a big controversy too. But I'm going to go with the Green Bay Packers over the Philadelphia Eagles. I want Jordan Love to have a big year too as starting quarterback, not a contract year. He's the highest paid player in NFL history. He's going to like to build off that in week 1 against Philadelphia Eagles in Brazil. Steelers versus the Falcons. Russell Wilson versus Kirk Cousins. This will be a gregreat duel. I think I have the Steelers winning this one. It's going to take a few weeks for Kirk Cousins and this offense to get going. Bijan Robinson is not some world killer. This is why I compare Bijan Robinson to. Bijan Robinson can be like the Donovan Edwards with NFL. Donovan Edwards, my Michigan guy, love him. He's a good player. He's a flashy name. But when you play some teams, it's like, where is Donovan Edwards? Look at the Fresno State game, week 1. Where is Donovan Edwards? For Bijan Robinson, he can show up in massive games. It's like, oh, Bijan Robinson's so good. I'm picking him number 1 overall in fantasy. And then he goes and plays a week 1 game. It's like, where's Bijan Robinson? I can see that this week. I can also see the Steelers after a really rough preseason bouncing back from that. Let me go Steelers over the Falcons. Also have the Steelers in fantasy for defense. Let's hope that works out for me right here. Steelers over the Falcons. Titans versus the Bears. Let's go Will Levis versus Caleb Williams. Tony Pollard versus elite Bears defense. I'm going to go with the Bears. Week 1, great win over the Tennessee Titans. Jaguars versus Dolphins. A little South Florida battle. Miami versus Jacksonville. I'm going to go with the Jaguars to lose this one. Miami Dolphins to get this one. Really like the way Tua had kind of shaped up this offseason. Changes the look around a little bit. Tyreek Hill, you know how they play. Early in the season, don't go against the Dolphins. They're going to win so many games early in the season because that's how it is every year. Then we get a little bit cold outside. Things start to fall off a little bit. Let's go with the Miami Dolphins over Jacksonville Jaguars. Vikings versus the Giants. I'm a diehard Giants fan. I put out on the Schoolyard Sports Instagram that I think the Giants have a great season. I think Daniel Jones can have a career year. Saquon Barkley is no more. Okay, you have Devin Singletary, who arguably had a better season than Saquon Barkley last year. Wide receivers, gone. You brought in Malik Neighbors. Malik Neighbors is arguably the best receiver from that draft class. He can be a playmaker on day 1. Brian Burns is back on defense. Dexter Lawrence is back on defense. Watch for the Giants to win this game against Sam Darnold, fluster him, look for Dexter Lawrence and Brian Burns to create some pass rush, shut down Aaron Jones, friend of the show, and Sam Darnold. For this Vikings offense, Giants or the Vikings. Raiders versus the Chargers. Let's go a little Aiden O'Connell, or Gardner Minshew, however they're starting at quarterback, versus Jim Harbaugh in his debut. And I got the Chargers, Jim Harbaugh, getting a great week 1 victory over the Las Vegas Raiders. I think there's big plans this year for the Los Angeles Chargers. Let's see what they can do. Cowboys versus the Browns. I'm not a huge Browns fan this season. I'm really not. I think their schedule is rough, and that starts right here in week 1. So I'm going to go with the Dallas Cowboys to win this over the Cleveland Browns. Yes, I know. This is not a pro Cowboys show. We're going to go with the Cowboys right here over the Cleveland Browns. Rams versus the Lions, rematch last year's playoff game. Don't expect it to go much different. I think it's a close game. It's in Motor City, in Detroit. I don't expect the result to be different. I have the Detroit Lions winning over the Los Angeles Rams. Both teams I think can make the playoffs. Both teams I think can have good seasons. I just think the Lions start their season better, get a good week 1 victory. It's tough to play week 1 in Detroit. These fans have been waiting pretty much all offseason for this game to happen, for a game to happen in Detroit, home game. Night game. Dome. I love this environment right here for the Detroit Lions. Detroit over Los Angeles Rams. Lions over the Rams. Let's go 31-24 Lions over the Rams. Now, the last game of the week, Jets versus 49ers. Jets fans are thinking about how horrible that was last year. That Monday Night Football game that ended their lives, it seems like. Aaron Rodgers tearing his Achilles. All that can be rewritten this year. All of it. They're going up against one of the best teams in the NFL. One of the most unstoppable forces in the NFL that Aaron Rodgers just won't be able to thread the needle against. San Francisco 49ers over the New York Jets. And that rounds out Schoolyard Sports NFL Game Day. Now, top 5. This week's top 5 is my top 5 NFL hot takes heading into the 2024-2025 NFL season. My preseason hot takes are here. Let's start out with number 5. The Los Angeles Chargers upset the Kansas City Chiefs and win the division. Jim Harbaugh is exactly what Justin Herbert ordered, exactly what the Los Angeles Chargers ordered, just what they needed, and it gets working right here. Year 1, everybody. Jim Harbaugh can turn around programs like that. Look at Stanford. Turn them around like that. Where's Stanford out? In the gutter. Turn around San Francisco 49ers like that. turn around the Michigan Wolverines after a horrible 2014 season into a 10-win 2015 season. How are they going to be without him? We'll have to wait and see. Hopefully not like that. Hopefully they'll stay at the top of the game, which I hope, obviously, as a diehard Michigan fan. But I think the Chargers have a great year this year. Jim Harbaugh's that difference. 5, Chargers win the AFC West over the Kansas City Chiefs. 4, it's the big one. Robert Saleh is the first head coach to be fired this season, and the Jets miss the playoffs again. I don't like their schedule. I don't think the Aaron Rodgers-Garrett Wilson combo is as great as people think. I think this defense is struggling, especially with the Hassan Reddick drama. I want to see this happen. I think it will happen. Robert Saleh gets fired, and the Jets miss the playoffs again. Number 3, Jordan Love is your 2024-2025 NFL MVP. Yes, bookmark it. Jordan Love, MVP in year 2 as starting quarterback in Green Bay. Highest paid player in the NFL. Shows why he's the highest paid player in the NFL and wins MVP. Number 2, he leads the Packers to a Super Bowl where they will face off against the Baltimore Ravens. I've got a Packers versus Ravens Super Bowl. This is going to be a great showdown, everybody. But who's going to win this Super Bowl? My number 1 hot take for this 2024-25 NFL season is that the Baltimore Ravens will win the Super Bowl, everybody. Wait for it to happen. I know I predict the Ravens what seems like every year, at least to be in the game or to win the game, but I believe in it this year. They were so close to it last year, making the AFC Championship game. A few plays go your way, you're winning that Super Bowl, in my opinion, over the San Francisco 49ers. This year, let's see it happen. Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, Rashad Bateman, Nelson Aguilar, a great offensive line, Mark Andrews, Kyle Hamilton. Do I need to say more? This is a great team. Todd Monken is your offense coordinator. Zachary Orr is your defense coordinator. Justin Tucker is your kicker. Such a great team. Such a great team. I'm excited for this. I think the Ravens do win the Super Bowl. And that's about for my NFL hot takes heading to the 2024-2025 season. If you want my full 20 NFL preseason hot takes, you can go to Schoolyard Sports Instagram at Schoolyard Sports and check my post there. That's about for my hot takes and top 5 this week. No, didn't know. This week's didn't know is, did you know the Seattle Seahawks name, when they were looking for a name for a franchise, they went off the public opinion. They let the fans choose. There are about 20,000 entries, or maybe even 100,000 entries, and about 2,000 suggestions, a bunch of entries for what the name of the next franchise in Seattle should be, and they landed on the Seattle Seahawks. So it was decided by a fan competition. Not the owner, not anybody else, by a fan competition. Didn't know that? Leave it down in the comments. That's what I didn't know this week. Now, let's bring back a fun segment. MVP, LVP. MVP, LVP, if you don't know what it is, it's not just stand for most valuable player, least valuable player of the week. It's pretty much most valuable person, most valuable anything. So it can be most valuable team, most valuable coach, most valuable player, most valuable, like I said, anything, and then the same for LVP. So let's start out with the LVP this week. This could also be a Schoolyard Sports Scream. The LVP for this week is DJ, you need to get a job. Not DJ Ungale. DJ, you need to get a job. This is a joke at this point for DJ Ungale. I could have told you his freshman year of college. I actually did tell you on this show when I was 12 years old that DJ Ungale was not a college football star quarterback. He isn't, and he never was, and he never will be. I don't care what you think. I really don't. I don't care what Big Dave Ungale has to say on Twitter. I don't care what anybody has to say. DJ Ungale is not a star quarterback in college football and never will be, and it is shown so far this season. Let's break it down. Let's get back to 2020. I remember talking about DJ Ungale on this show in 2020. Trevor Lawrence gets COVID, and DJU has to start against Boston College and Notre Dame. And everybody goes crazy because DJU puts up 300 yards on Boston College. Guess what? Clemson was the number 1 team in the country, and they won by 5 points in that game. 5 points. Then they go on the road to Notre Dame, mind you, COVID season, and DJ Ungale puts up 450 yards, and they lose. I don't care how many yards he puts up. Everybody was saying, oh my gosh, the future is here. You know, Trevor Lawrence is amazing, but the future is here. DJ Ungale is going to win so many Heismans at Clemson. He's going to be a number 1 overall pick. I could have told you. That this was no good. I didn't love that performance against Notre Dame. I thought, okay, maybe he had a few turnovers. Maybe he could have won that game in overtime if he was that big of a leader. I don't care how many yards he had before overtime. He had the ball in his hands last, and he didn't get it done in that game. Okay. Next season at Clemson, people are excited. I'm saying temper your expectations a little bit. He was horrible in 2021. Absolutely horrible. They started the season terrible. They start the season losing to Georgia, losing to North Carolina State. Then they go to the next season. And everybody loves to hate on Dabo Swinney. I say this is the best accomplishment Dabo Swinney has ever had. Not winning championships. Dabo Swinney's best accomplishment is winning 10 games with DJU as a starting quarterback. 10 games. It's a disgrace that DJU has been here. Then DJU leaves, goes to Oregon State. It's Oregon State. He's the best thing they've had in a while, and he has decent numbers, but they're not a good team. They make the Sun Bowl, okay? I'm not hating the Sun Bowl. It's the bowl game here in El Paso. It's not exactly the Rose Bowl, everybody, okay? It wasn't exactly best season for Oregon State. Really wasn't. So DJU goes from Oregon State to Florida State, and I'm saying, what is this? You really can't find a better quarterback in the portal. What about Cam Ward down at Miami? What about someone else? What about Tyler Van Dyke left Miami? He'd been better at Florida State than DJU. This isn't Schoolyard Sports Scream. This is MVP, LVP. LVP this week is DJ. You need to get a job, or DJ Uiagalelei, because football won't work out for DJ Uiagalelei, in my opinion. MVP this week, and his match is going on right now, is Francis Tiafoe. Francis Tiafoe is the MVP for this week, in my opinion. After 2022, when Francis Tiafoe had such a great U.S. Open run, things started going down a little bit for him. Then he became the top 10 player, summer of 2023. Then he fell all the way to number 27, summer of 2024. He almost beats Carlos Alcaraz at Wimbledon, which would have been a really career-defining moment for him. Loses in 5 sets, and that's tough because he's a second-round exit after that. It's really tough. Then he goes over to Cincinnati Masters, 1,000 tournament, places second, losing the Yannick Center. Tough. And now he's on his way to be, hopefully, a U.S. Open semifinalist in a tough match against Grigor Dimitrov right now, but wins that match against Ben Shelton after losing it last year in the quarterfinals of the U.S. Open. Francis Tiafoe is my MVP for this week. So that's about for MVP, LVP. Thank you for listening to my DJ Uiagalelei rant and my Francis Tiafoe. A little bit praising right there. That's about for MVP, LVP this week. You know, I wasn't planning on doing a Schoolyard Sports Scream this episode, but after I just did a full scream on DJ Uiagalelei, or DJ, you need to get a job in MVP, LVP, I thought, why not do it? Why not do it on Brian Kelly, head coach at LSU? Let's do a full Schoolyard Sports in-depth scream on Brian Kelly. No notes. So Brian Kelly, head coach at LSU, started his career as the head coach at Cincinnati, actually Central Michigan, then Cincinnati, then Notre Dame. How many championships does Brian Kelly have? National championships? 0. How many conference championships did he have at Notre Dame? 0, because they're not in a conference. How many conference championships does he have at LSU? 0. It's year 3 of the Brian Kelly experiment at LSU, and it's proven to be horrible. Okay. LSU is 0-5 in their last 5 season openers. That's disgusting, but only 3 of those are under Brian Kelly. Does that make it any better? No, it really doesn't. Brian Kelly brought in Jane Daniels. Wow, great for him. That was a great decision. Brian Kelly has messed up everything else, it seems like, in his tenure at LSU. Let's break it down a little bit more. So Brian Kelly was a coach at Notre Dame. Wasn't the best coach in Notre Dame, but he got the job done. And I think he's the winningest head coach they've had in a while at Notre Dame. But I think Marcus Freeman has done a better job than Brian Kelly. Because one thing Marcus Freeman has done that he did last week that Brian Kelly never had was go into a top environment, take on that big schedule, play a big team week 1 on the road, and get that signature win. Brian Kelly never did that. Brian Kelly played rough teams. Brian Kelly actually canceled the Michigan Notre Dame series when he was in Notre Dame. Brought back 2018, 2019, won 2018 and got spanked 2019. But again, Brian Kelly's not a championship-winning head coach. Brian Kelly decides to leave Notre Dame, go to LSU, develop a southern accent, do what everyone say, you know, LSU, we're going to win the championship this year, throw up the L's, everything like that. It didn't work. Everybody's saying, who is this guy? He's dancing with recruits. He's doing all these dumb things. And now look where they are. 0-3 in their past 3 season openers under Brian Kelly. It's tough to start after that, especially in the SEC. Expand playoff, good for them. It's still so tough to rebound from. Let's look at, say, 2022 season. They had a good chance to actually be the first 2-loss team to ever make the CFP if they beat that game against Georgia. They never could do it. They never did it. Okay, gets Jaden Daniels, come back another year. In the 2 years they had Jaden Daniels, they didn't make 1 year 6 bowl. The 2 years Jaden Daniels, the 1 year of the Heisman with Jaden Daniels, they didn't do much. Really didn't. They made the Citrus Bowl, I think, twice. It's not an accomplishment, in my opinion, to make the Citrus Bowl when you're LSU, a championship program that shouldn't have fired Ed Orgeron, in my opinion. Really. Looking back on it, I know I'm a guy who said back at the time, Ed Orgeron, this guy needs to go. Looking back on it, no, Ed Orgeron could have stayed. It would have saved us in this Brian Kelly mess, at least. It's a mess down Baton Rouge, and it all starts with Brian Kelly. You didn't need that LSU job. You had tenure at Notre Dame. They weren't going to fire you. LSU, different kind of pot down there. That's about my Schoolyard Sports Scream this week. Which Scream do you think was better? The DJ Uiagalelei Scream or the Brian Kelly Scream? Leave your thoughts in the comments. Now, College Ball Showcase. Let's break down my top 25 teams for the week and then do my hot takes right after in this action-packed College Ball Showcase. For 1, Georgia Bulldogs. 2, Texas Longhorns. 3, Alabama, roll tide. 4, Michigan, go blue. 5, Ohio State Buckeyes. 6, Notre Dame. 7, Ole Miss. 8, Oregon. 9, Missouri. 10, Tennessee. 11, USC. 12, Miami. 13, Penn State. 14, Utah. 15, Arizona. 16, Oklahoma. 17, LSU. 18, Kansas. 19, Oklahoma State. 20, Clemson. 21, Nebraska. 22, Texas A&M. 23, SMU. 24, Washington. And 25, Georgia Tech. Let's break it down. Michigan was number 1 last week. They fall all the way to number 4 this week for me. Georgia's number 1. What a great showing that was against Clemson. But as expected, I said they'd get shut out. They won 34-3. Great game. Texas, 52-0. It's a decent Colorado State team. I'll give that to you. You're moving up, and you got a great battle against Michigan this week. Alabama, 9 pass attempts for Jalen Milroe. 63 points. That's all I have to say. Alabama, number 3. Michigan, it was Fresno State. Fresno State can be the best group of 5 team this year, but still. The defense was amazing. The offense, very lackluster. Figure out some things for Texas this week. Picking that game. Coming up next. 5, Ohio State, good showing against Akron. Notre Dame moves up a lot for me. That great one against Texas A&M. Ole Miss, 76-0 against Furman. I don't think the offense was as impressive as the defense was in this game. It's a low-level school in Furman, but still, winning 76-0 against any team. You could play a high school football team and win 76-0, and that's impressive in my opinion. 8, Oregon. Oregon was disgusting this week. People like to hate on Michigan for winning by 20 points against the best Group of 5 team. Well, Oregon, number 3 in the country in the AP poll, played an FCS team and won by 10 points at home. Oregon, disgusting performance against the Idaho Vandals. 9, Missouri. 10, Tennessee. Tennessee, good showing. Nico Maleva might be the best quarterback in the country. 11, USC. What a great win that was against LSU. They're moving up in my poll. 12, Miami. I think they're a little bit worse than USC, but still a great win against Florida. Cam Ward was playing backyard football out there. 13, Penn State. Prove me wrong a little bit. Good win against West Virginia. Let's skip over to 15, Arizona. Great offense. Teodoro McMillan, one of the greatest receiving performances I've ever seen. 10 catches, 304 yards, 4 touchdowns. That no Fafita. Teodoro McMillan connection can create Heisman winners, in my opinion. 16, Oklahoma. Jackson Arnold wasn't bad. LSU at 17 doesn't tumble too much for me. Let's move over to Clemson at 20. Clemson, again, you're playing the number 1 team in the country. You're going to tumble a little bit, but you're not going to fall fully high in my rankings. Dabo Swinney, I give you a little more respect after what we've seen from DJU this season to say, you won 10 games with that guy, I'll give you a little bit more respect. 20, Clemson. 21, Nebraska. Love their showing against UTEP, and they got a great game against Colorado this week up in Lincoln. That'll be a great game. 22, Texas A&M. Mike Elko, week 1, first year of the program, figuring things out. First week, I didn't love what I saw from Connor Wakeman. Defense looked pretty good, though, for A&M, so I'll say that. 22, A&M, they're still a top 25 team. 23, SMU. Didn't love their week 0 showing, played much better in week 1. 24, Washington. Will Rogers, good player. This team, a lot of people forget. They still have a very good head coach in Jed Fish. They still have pretty much some players back, we could say, at least some players back from that national championship title run last year where they came second, Michigan Wolverines. But Washington, we're still disrespecting them a little bit. 24, Washington. 25, my Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. Georgia Tech, number 25. And that's about my College Football Showcase top 25 this week. Still more to come. The College Football Showcase hot takes coming up next. Now, College Football Showcase part 2 for my 6 hot takes of the week. Let's go perfect with the hot takes. Again, if you want to see even more great hot take content, follow Schoolyard Sports on Instagram at Schoolyard Sports. We got great hot take content every single Saturday. College football and just great college football content every Saturday on Schoolyard Sports. Everything you need right there for college football on Saturday at Schoolyard Sports. But the first hot take I've got for you is Nebraska versus Colorado. Shedeur Sanders, Travis Hunter, they take their watches up into Lincoln, Nebraska. A night game against Dylan Raiola, who looked incredible in week 1. The difference in this game is coaching. Coach Prime is a great recruiter, a great motivator, but is he a great in-game decision maker? That's still yet to be seen. Now, Matt Rule is a guy who was a great coach at Baylor, a great coach in the NFL, and has been solid year 2 at Nebraska. So I've got Nebraska in a very, very close game, winning this over Colorado. I think UTEP might have better defense than Colorado did, saying this will be a very high-scoring game. That's who Nebraska played last week. Let's go 48-41. Let's go Cornhuskers over Colorado. Colorado not getting a touchdown on one drive makes a difference here because they can't get stops, in my opinion. Nebraska edges out Colorado. Next game in a ranked matchup, Tennessee at North Carolina State. I think Tennessee just blows them out of the water. I think North Carolina State was disgusting last week with the way they played. It's an AP ranked matchup. They almost lost to Western Carolina last week. Really hung with them for about 3.5 quarters in that game. North Carolina State, Tennessee blew out Chattanooga. Nico Maleva, I said it before, is one of the best quarterbacks in the country. Tennessee blows them out of the water. Let's go 30+ in this game over North Carolina State. Next one, it's been an interesting one. Boise State versus Oregon. I talked about Oregon last week, and they did horrible against Idaho. Let's see how you can do against Boise, Idaho, and Boise State. It's in Oregon. Bring them up against the best running back in the country, Ashton Jeanty. Yes, I said it. Ashton Jeanty is the best running back in the country. 300 yards, over 3 touchdowns last week. Max Munson is no slack of a QB either. It's going to be a really good game. I'm really excited for it. Boise State cuts it close to Oregon. Watch this one to be a really close one-possession game down to the wire. Dylan Gabriel, another true test against his Boise State defense. Watch for that game right there. Way closer than experts think. One-possession game, Boise State, close with Oregon. Next one, Appalachian State, close with Clemson. Don't doubt Appalachian State. Joey Aguilar, a really good quarterback. Clemson, a little bit of a slump. We love Appalachian State when these plays upsets off. So let's go Appalachian State. Very, very close against Clemson this week. Really nice South Carolina matchup right here. Appalachian State close to Clemson. They don't get the win, but like the Boise State game, one possession game. Watch this one be a really close one. Next one, Tulane upsets AP-ranked Kansas State. Tulane, Mario Williams is their wide receiver, new head coach. Yes, he lost Willie Fritz, but still a very solid Group of 5 team. Tulane gets that upset win over Kansas State. And for the last game of the week, and the best game of the week, the Michigan Wolverines versus the Texas Longhorns. Let's break it down. 2 playoff teams from last year. Michigan, national champions. Texas gets Washington in the Sugar Bowl, lost in the Sugar Bowl. Quinn Ewers is a great quarterback. I'll give it to him. But when you're a great quarterback and you enter the big house, something different happens. When you enter the big house and you're up against the best defense in the country, something different happens. Can Quinn Ewers react against Derek Moore on one side, Josiah Stewart on one side, and Mason Graham and Kenneth Grant in the middle? I could say all 4 of those guys are first-round picks. Maybe if you want to throw Rayshon Benny in there as defensive lineman, this is an elite Michigan defensive line. You look at the linebackers, Jayshon Barham, who I've heard is the biggest freak in college football at linebacker. He's scary. Aside from him, Cole Sullivan, Jimmy Rolder, those linebackers are insane. You can look at the defense. Quentin Johnson, pure pro at safety. Macari Page Crossman, pure pro at safety. Defensive backs, Will Johnson, Jair Hill, and Zeke Berry. Will Johnson, Zeke Berry had picks last week. Will Johnson is the best defender and the best player in college football. So Quinn Ewers is going to have to react quick. This running game is going to have to get going for Texas. No Cedric Baxter for Texas. Tore his ACL. That's rough for them right there. Steve Sarkisian is going to have to act quick. It's a maze out. There'll be 110,000 fans there. I'm going to be one of those fans in attendance. For Michigan, this offense looked disgusting last week. Davis Warren, who I really like as a quarterback and a person, has to play well in this game. Has to manage the game well, at least. And for Sharon Moore, I like to call it sleepy Sharon. Don't be sleepy in this game, Sharon. Make the right decisions. Don't be as conservative as you've been in the past. Make the right decisions. Maybe throw a few trick plays in there. And the difference will be Donovan Edwards having a breakout game. Because as we all know, Donovan Edwards can turn up against any top 10 team in the country. Put him against Fresno State. That's just the warm-up. Against top 10 team, Donovan Edwards will explode in the big house. Noon kickoff. Michigan Wolverines win the game of the week over Texas. Let's go Michigan 31-24 over the Texas Longhorns. And that's about for College Pro Showcase. Hot takes this week. Now, out the buzzer. This week's Out the Buzzer is more of a question to you, Schoolyard Sports fans. I'm watching the U.S. Open this year, and I see a little bit of parity. I see 3 Americans making the quarterfinals, which is really incredible right there. Saw it last year, too. But this year, Francis Tiafoe and Taylor Fritz hopefully can make the semifinals. Fritz clinched it earlier today against Alexander Zverev, and hopefully Tiafoe can clinch it tonight. But it's great to see. Also, Carlos Alcaraz out of this U.S. Open. He's won so many Grand Slams, it seems like. Novak Djokovic out of Grand Slam. So the 2 players that are left in this Grand Slam that have won a Grand Slam before are Yannick Sinner with 1 and Daniil Medvedev with 1. Now, I'm cool with those guys winning the Grand Slam. I'd love to see someone else win it to get their first Grand Slam, but still, it's nice to see new faces. Not just seeing Novak win it. Not just seeing Carlos win it. To see new faces, it's always great to see. Do you like that in tennis? Or do you want to see Novak win as many Grand Slams as possible, Carlos win as many Grand Slams as possible? For me, I like a little bit of both. Yes, I want Novak to have a great legacy. Yes, I want Carlos to be up there with the big 3 all the time in Grand Slams. But yes, I want Tiafoe to win this. Yes, I want Fritz to win this. Yes, I want these guys to build up their repertoires. Even Yannick Sinner to win more Grand Slams, the steroid abuser himself. That's about for Out the Buzzer this week. Leave your thoughts in the comments. Now, the best for last, and I'm going to get you guys fired up with this question today. What is better to watch, the NFL or college football? For me, it's college football. I love watching the NFL. But you couldn't motivate me to watch a full NFL game if I didn't have fantasy football implications on the line. No, I'm just kidding. But still, College football is so important to me. College football is so exciting. It's a different environment than NFL. NFL, you lose a game, it's a business. It's like, all right, okay. College football, it's these kids' lives. You only get so many games in college football. You're a redshirt for 1 year. You have 3 years left, 2 years left. You're going to go to the NFL. Every game matters. Every rivalry game matters. You only have that one chance. You may only have one chance your whole entire career to play your big rival, to actually play in that game. That's why college football is so special. But for you, maybe the NFL is more special to your heart. What's better to watch, NFL or college football? I love both. I'm going to go with college football. That's Power Question Day this week. That's Power Schoolyard Sports and Lane Frigg, episode 181. Thank you for tuning in. Follow Schoolyard Sports on Instagram at Schoolyard Sports. Follow Schoolyard Sports on X at Schoolyard Sport. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review for the best sports content in the world. Be back next week, episode 182. Stay tuned.